Computer models are going absolutely haywire right now, and what they are showing could change everything for millions of Americans in the next 72 hours. The storm track is shifting, and if you live anywhere from Texas to Pennsylvania, what I am about to show you in the next 4 minutes will determine whether you are facing snow, ice, or something far more dangerous. Here is what nobody is telling you. Two separate pieces of energy, one screaming down from Canada, another roaring in from the Pacific Ocean, are about to collide over the heart of America. And when they merge, we are looking at potentially the biggest ice storm some southern cities have seen since the year 2000. Right now, winter storm watches stretch from New Mexico all the way through Nashville, covering Paducah, Kentucky, Huntsville, Little Rock, the entire state of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Dallas, Fort Worth, the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa. We are talking about an area affecting more than 50 million people. But here is the twist that happened just 6 hours ago. The European computer model, the most reliable forecasting tool meteorologists use, just shifted this entire storm system northward. And that one change means cities that were preparing for snow are now staring down a catastrophic ice event instead. Stay with me because at the 30-second mark coming up, I am going to reveal the exact corridor where ice accumulations could reach 1 to 2 inches. That is enough to shut down major cities for an entire week. And if you think your city can handle it, I have news that will change your mind. The question everyone is asking is this: is this northward shift permanent, or are we going to see the storm track slide back south? The answer is complicated, but I will break it down in a way that makes sense. And here is your reward for staying with me. In exactly 10 seconds, I am going to show you why grocery store shelves are about to be empty and why today, right now, might be your last chance to prepare. Here is what is happening in the atmosphere. Our storm system has not even fully formed yet. One piece of energy is still sitting off the coast of California. Another piece is way up in Canada. Weather balloons cannot sample it. Surface observations cannot measure it. Even airplanes are not flying through it to gather data. This means the computer models are still guessing, still adjusting, still shifting. Overnight, the European model made a critical change. It started linking up these two energy sources faster than previous runs showed. When that northern cold energy connects with the southern warm moist energy, they combine forces. Think of it like two storms becoming one superstorm. And when that happens, the surface low-pressure system intensifies dramatically. A stronger storm means stronger winds. Stronger winds mean more warm air gets pulled northward. And that warm air pushes the rain-snow line further north. This is why cities like Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, Columbia, and Atlanta, which were hoping for snow, are now looking at a devastating ice storm instead. But here is what you need to understand. This does not mean you are getting rain if you live in the Interstate 85 corridor of Northeast Georgia, upstate South Carolina, or the Piedmont of North Carolina. What this means is you are facing something potentially worse. A crippling ice storm that could easily become the biggest of this decade. For some areas, this could be the worst ice event since 2000. Let me paint you a picture of what 1 to 2 inches of ice actually means. Trees snap under the weight. Power lines collapse, transformers explode, roads become skating rinks, and unlike snow, which you can shovel or plow, ice just sits there, locked in place, especially when temperatures stay below freezing for days afterward. Now here is a number that should get your attention. If Charlotte gets 1 to 1.5 inches of ice, the city could be shut down until the start of February. We are not talking about a day or two. We are talking about an entire week, possibly longer, with limited power, impassable roads, and no way to restock supplies. Comment below right now and tell me where you are watching from. I need to know your location so I can give you the most accurate forecast for your specific area. Are you in Dallas, Little Rock, Nashville, Charlotte, Richmond, Philadelphia? Drop your city in the comments, and I will make sure you get the information you need to stay safe. The timing of this storm is critical. By tomorrow, Thursday, if things are still calm where you live, that is the last day of calm you are going to see. By Friday morning, the storm begins. And here is something most people do not realize. This is not a quick-moving system. This storm is going to park itself over the southeastern United States and grind away for 48 to 72 hours. Let me show you what the models are predicting right now. The European Ensemble, which runs the model 51 different times to account for uncertainty, is centering the heaviest snow totals over Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and back into Kentucky. We are talking about 6 inches to 1 foot in northern Oklahoma, 6 inches to 1 foot in northern Arkansas, 1 to 2 feet in western Virginia and West Virginia, especially in higher terrain areas, about 1 foot in Philadelphia, around 1 foot in northern New Jersey, 6 to 10 inches in New York City, 6 to 10 inches in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. But here is where it gets interesting. The same model shows almost no snow for Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, Columbia, or Atlanta. 0. Nothing. Because all that precipitation is falling as ice instead. The ice forecast is even more concerning. The European Ensemble is showing a bullseye of 1 to 2 inches of ice accumulation right along the Interstate 85 corridor. That is, upstate South Carolina, northeast Georgia, and the Piedmont of North Carolina. 1 to 2 inches. Let me repeat that because I need you to understand the severity. 1 to 2 inches of ice would be absolutely crippling. For those of you from the Northeast who are used to dealing with snow, let me put this in perspective. 1 inch of ice causes more damage than 1 foot of snow. Ice does not compress. It does not melt easily. It clings to everything and brings down anything it touches. The model also shows a massive ice corridor extending from Texas all the way to the mid-Atlantic. We are talking about southern Arkansas seeing significant ice, parts of northern Louisiana, Oklahoma. This is not a small area. This is millions of people facing the same catastrophic threat. Now, the GFS model, which is the American computer model, tells a slightly different story. It has not shifted north nearly as much as the European. It still shows more snow for places like Charlotte, possibly 5 or more inches of a snow-sleet ice mix. But here is the problem. The GFS has been consistently less accurate than the European with this particular storm system. Most meteorologists, including myself, are leaning toward the European solution. But let me give you some hope. Models can still shift. We are not done seeing changes. In fact, I would be surprised if we did not see at least one more significant adjustment before this storm arrives. The question is, which direction will it go? Could it shift back south? Possibly. The energy sources are still not being sampled well enough by weather instruments. As the storm gets closer and we get better data, the models will adjust. But shifting back south enough to bring all snow to Charlotte or Atlanta? Probably not. That ship has likely sailed. Here is what I am watching most closely. At the 3-minute 20-second mark, I am going to reveal the most dangerous aspect of this storm. And it is not the snow. It is not even the ice. It is what comes after. But first, let me explain why this storm is setting up to be so historic. We have very cold Arctic air spilling down from Canada. Anytime you see temperatures at or below freezing about 7/10 of a mile above our heads across the southern tier of the United States, you know you have a significant cold air mass in place. On top of that cold air, we have a Baja low cranking up an atmospheric river of moisture from the Pacific Ocean. Picture this. The jet stream is picking up moisture all the way from the Pacific and hurling it across the western United States. It is also pulling moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. This is a massive fetch of moisture running headfirst into that dense cold air. And when warm, moist air hits a wall of cold air, it has nowhere to go but up. It rises, condenses, and dumps precipitation. The total precipitation forecast for this storm is staggering. Some areas could see rainfall equivalent of 3 to 4 inches. But it is not falling as rain. It is falling as ice. That is an enormous amount of frozen precipitation to accumulate in a short period of time. Now let me tell you about the severe weather threat. Yes, you heard that right. While some cities are preparing for a blizzard, other areas to the south could see severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. One model actually shows a tornado threat for the low country of South Carolina and Georgia. Imagine living in Orangeburg where one model shows a winter storm and another model shows a tornado threat. And we are only 3 days away from this event. This tells you how complex and difficult this storm is to forecast. The margin between snow, ice, and severe weather is razor thin. It all depends on where that warm air boundary sets up. A shift of 50 miles north or south changes everything. Comment your location again if you have not already. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to know exactly what is headed your way. The difference between 6 inches of snow and 1 inch of ice could be the difference between an inconvenience and a disaster. Now we get to the part that terrifies me most as a meteorologist. The prolonged cold snap that follows this storm. Here is what nobody is talking about enough. After this storm moves through, Arctic air is going to settle in and lock in place for over a week. By Friday night and Saturday, temperatures will be 40 degrees below average. 40 degrees. Not 40 degrees total. 40 degrees below what they should be for this time of year. In Oklahoma and Texas, we are looking at the same thing. 40 degrees below normal. By Monday afternoon of next week, when the storm is done for 99% of people, that cold air will still be locked in place. And it stays there all week long. By next Friday, we are still 20 to 30 degrees below average. The forecast models show this cold pattern extending 15 days out. Here is why this matters. Whatever snow and ice you get is not going to melt. This is not your typical southern winter storm where you get 3 inches of snow and then it is 50 degrees the next day. This is a different beast entirely. Actual temperatures? Let me show you. Tuesday morning of next week, after the storm, we are looking at single digits in some locations. Below zero for others. Teens across the Carolinas. By Tuesday afternoon, if we are lucky, we might find the low 40s in the far south. But then you get a refreeze every single night. Another massive shot of cold air arrives by Thursday of next week. Temperatures drop back into the teens in the morning. By afternoon, you are struggling to reach freezing. This pattern continues day after day after day. Do you understand what this means for power outages? If ice brings down power lines on Friday or Saturday, and temperatures stay below freezing for a week, people could be without power for 7 days or longer, in single-digit temperatures. In the South, where many homes are not built for this kind of sustained cold, this is why preparation right now, today, is absolutely critical. You cannot wait until tomorrow. You cannot assume the grocery store will have supplies on Thursday. By then, every shelf will be empty. Bread, milk, eggs, batteries, flashlights, non-perishable foods, water, medications, blankets, everything will be gone. If you lose power for a week in these temperatures, you need a plan. Do you have a backup heat source? Do you have enough food that does not require cooking? Do you have enough water stored? Do you have a way to charge your phone? Have you checked on your elderly neighbors? These are not hypothetical questions. These are life and death decisions for some people. And I am not trying to scare you. I am trying to prepare you. There is a big difference. Here is what I recommend you do right now, today, before this video ends. Make a list. Food, water, medications, batteries, flashlight, radio, blanket, first aid kit, phone charger, candles, matches, any special needs for children or pets. Then go get those supplies. Today, not tomorrow. Fill up your gas tank. Withdraw some cash in case power outages affect ATMs and credit card systems. Charge all your devices. Locate your important documents. Make sure you have a way to stay warm if the power goes out. Check your home. Do you have frozen pipes risk? Let your faucets drip slightly when temperatures drop. Know where your water shutoff valve is located. Clear any heavy snow or ice from tree branches near your home before they fall and cause damage. If you have a fireplace, make sure you have enough wood. If you have a generator, test it now and make sure you have fuel. Never run a generator indoors or in an attached garage. Carbon monoxide kills. Know your neighbors. Who lives alone? Who is elderly? Who might need help? A simple check-in could save a life. Now let me address the question everyone is asking. Could this storm still shift south and bring more snow to places like Charlotte and Atlanta? The honest answer is maybe, but probably not enough to matter. The trend over the last 24 hours has been consistently northward. While models can still change, a dramatic shift back south at this point seems unlikely. What is more likely is that we see some minor adjustments. Maybe the ice line shifts 20 or 30 miles north or south. Maybe snow totals increase slightly in some areas and decrease in others. But the overall picture is probably locked in now. A major ice event for the Interstate 85 corridor and significant snow for areas north of there. The European model has been remarkably consistent with this solution. And when you see multiple model runs in a row showing the same general outcome, That increases confidence in the forecast. The GFS model, which shows more snow further south, has been an outlier. And in situations like this, outliers are usually wrong. But here is what I am watching. If the next few model runs show a trend back south, even a small one, that would be significant. It would mean the models are still uncertain about the exact track. But if the European continues to hold steady or trends even further north, then we can say with high confidence that the ice storm is locked in for the areas I mentioned. One more thing about the ice. The forecast calls for 1 to 2 inches in the hardest hit corridor, but even a quarter inch of ice causes problems. Even half an inch can bring down power lines and tree branches. So if you live anywhere in the potential ice zone, from Texas to the Carolinas, take this seriously, even if the forecast for your specific location is less than an inch. The timing breaks down like this. Thursday is your last day to prepare. Friday morning, the storm begins moving in from the west. By Friday afternoon and evening, precipitation overspreads a large area from Texas through Arkansas and into Tennessee. Friday night into Saturday is when the heaviest precipitation falls for most locations. Saturday, the storm continues grinding eastward. By Saturday night and Sunday, the storm begins to pull away, but cold air continues pouring in behind it. Monday through the following Friday, bitter cold, dangerous cold, potentially deadly cold if you are not prepared. Temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below average. Wind chills even lower. Whatever ice and snow fell will remain locked in place. I want to show you one more critical piece of information: the wind. As this storm intensifies, winds will increase significantly. We could see wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour in some locations. When you combine those wind speeds with heavy ice accumulation on trees and power lines, you get widespread catastrophic damage. Think about a tree branch coated with 1 inch of ice. That branch now weighs several times more than normal. Add in a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that branch snaps. Multiply that by thousands of trees across hundreds of miles and you get the picture. Transformer explosions, fires from downed power lines, roads blocked by fallen trees, widespread, long-duration power outages. This is why power companies are already staging crews and bringing in additional resources from other states. They know what is coming. They are preparing for a multi-day, possibly multi-week restoration effort. If you are still watching, thank you. Comment your location one more time so I can make sure you are prepared for what is headed your way. And here is what I need you to do next. Share this video with someone you care about who lives in the affected area. Text it to your parents, your grandparents, your friends. The more people who see this information, the better prepared we all will be. I am going to be doing multiple updates over the next few days. Live streams, video updates, the latest model data as it comes in. But the key message right now is this: prepare today. Do not wait. Get your supplies. Make your plan. Check on your neighbors. And stay tuned for updates because this storm is still evolving. The most likely scenario, based on current data, is a crippling ice storm from northeast Texas through Arkansas, Oklahoma, northern Louisiana, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, upstate South Carolina, and the Piedmont of North Carolina. North of that zone, heavy snow is likely for Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and southern New England. South of the ice zone, heavy rain and possibly severe storms for parts of the Gulf Coast. But remember, a 50-mile shift in the storm track changes everything. That is why you need to keep watching the forecast. Do not just look at one model run and assume that is what will happen. Check multiple sources. Listen to your local meteorologists. They know your area best. As we wrap up, let me give you a preview of what is coming next. In my next video, I am going to break down the hour-by-hour timeline for every major city in the path of this storm. Exactly when precipitation starts, when it changes from rain to ice to snow, when the heaviest bands move through, and when it finally ends. That information will be critical for timing your preparations and knowing when to stay off the roads. I am also going to show you the long-range forecast beyond this storm. Because while this is the immediate threat, we have another potential storm system developing for the following week. It is too early to know details, but it is something to keep on your radar. The bottom line is this: we are staring down a historic winter storm. Millions of people will be affected. Some will lose power for extended periods. Travel will be impossible for days. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. This is reality based on the best data we have available. But we can get through this if we prepare properly, if we look out for each other, if we take it seriously but do not panic. Nature is powerful, but humans are resilient. We have dealt with storms before. We will deal with this one too. Now let me give you some specific numbers that will help you understand the scope of this event. The atmospheric river bringing moisture into this storm is carrying precipitable water values of 1.5 to 2 inches. That might not sound like much, but when you convert that moisture into ice, you get a multiplication effect. Every tenth of an inch of liquid precipitation can produce roughly 1 inch of ice when temperatures are in the sweet spot of 28 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if an area receives 1 inch of liquid equivalent precipitation, and it all falls as freezing rain, you are looking at potentially 10 inches of ice accumulation in the most extreme scenario. Now, that is unlikely. Most of the time, some of that precipitation will fall as sleet, which is less damaging than pure ice. But even in a mixed scenario, we are talking about catastrophic ice amounts for the Interstate 85 corridor. The European model is showing liquid equivalent precipitation totals of 2 to 3 inches for the hardest hit areas. Run those numbers. Even if only half of that falls as freezing rain, you are looking at potential ice accumulations exceeding 2 inches in isolated locations. That is beyond crippling. That is catastrophic. Let me put this in historical context for those of you who remember past ice storms. The ice storm of January 1998 in the Northeast United States and Canada is considered one of the worst natural disasters in North American history. That storm produced ice accumulations of 3 to 4 inches in some locations. It left 4 million people without power. Some did not get electricity back for 6 weeks. The storm caused $28 billion in damage and killed at least 35 people. The ice storm that hit the southern United States in February 2014, which many of you probably remember, produced ice accumulations of just half an inch to 1 inch in most locations. That was enough to shut down Atlanta for nearly a week. Thousands of people were stranded on highways. The economic impact was in the billions. What we are potentially looking at with this storm could exceed both of those events for specific corridors. I need you to understand that. This is not a typical winter storm. This is a generational event. Here is another number that matters. The rate of ice accumulation. If ice accumulates slowly over 12 to 24 hours, trees and power lines have some time to adjust, to sag under the weight. But if ice accumulates rapidly over 6 to 8 hours, which is what some models are showing, there is no time for adjustment. Things just snap. That is when you get the explosive transformer failures, the sudden widespread outages, the extreme danger. The forecast models show the heaviest freezing rain rates occurring Friday night into Saturday morning for areas from Arkansas through Tennessee into Kentucky. For the Carolinas and Georgia, the peak freezing rain rates look to occur Saturday afternoon into Saturday night. During these peak periods, ice could accumulate at rates of 1/4 to 1/2 inch every 3 to 4 hours. Think about that for a moment. You go to bed Friday night and everything is fine. You wake up Saturday morning and there is half an inch of ice coating everything outside. Trees are bending, you hear cracking sounds, power flickers, then it goes out and it stays out for days, possibly a week or more. This is why I keep emphasizing preparation. Once that ice starts falling, it is too late. You cannot drive to the store. You cannot go anywhere. You are stuck wherever you are with whatever supplies you have. Let me talk about specific cities and what they should expect. Dallas-Fort Worth, you are on the southern edge of the heavy ice zone. Current models show you getting a significant ice event Friday into Saturday. Accumulations of half an inch to potentially 1 inch, this would be one of the worst ice storms in Dallas history. Power outages likely. Travel impossible. You need to be ready. Little Rock, Arkansas, you are in the bullseye. Models are showing 1 to potentially 2 inches of ice. This would be catastrophic. Your city could be shut down for a week or more. If you have not prepared yet, you need to do it today. Right now. Memphis, Tennessee, similar story. Heavy ice likely. Accumulations of half an inch to 1.5 inches possible. Widespread power outages expected. Have a plan for where you will go if you lose power and have no heat. Nashville, You are in a tricky spot. You are right on the line between heavy ice to your south and heavy snow to your north. Small shifts in the storm track make a huge difference for you. Either way, you are getting significant winter weather. Could be 8 inches of snow. Could be an inch of ice. Could be a nasty mix of both. Be prepared for the worst-case scenario. Huntsville, Alabama, northern Mississippi, you are looking at significant ice, 1/2 inch to 1 inch accumulations possible. This is more than enough to cause widespread damage and extended outages. Atlanta, you have dodged the worst of this storm, but you are not in the clear. You are likely to see rain transition to a period of freezing rain Saturday. Ice accumulations of 1/10 to 1/4 inch possible in the metro area, with higher amounts north of the city. Even small amounts of ice cause problems in Atlanta, as you well know from 2014. Stay home Saturday. Do not risk it. Charlotte, this is where the forecast gets really concerning. You are in the heart of the predicted ice zone. Current models show ice accumulations of 1 to potentially 1.5 inches. This would be the worst ice storm in Charlotte history. Period. The city would shut down for at least a week, possibly longer given the prolonged cold that follows. Power outages would be widespread and long-lasting. If you live in Charlotte and you are watching this, please take this seriously. Prepare today. Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Same story as Charlotte. You are in the bullseye. 1 to 2 inches of ice possible. Catastrophic event likely. Columbia, South Carolina, you are just south of the worst ice, but you are still looking at a significant event, 1/2 inch to potentially 1 inch of ice. Widespread problems expected. Richmond, Virginia, you are in a transition zone. Models show you starting with freezing rain Saturday morning, then transitioning to snow Saturday afternoon and evening. Total ice accumulation of 1/4 to 1/2 inch possible before the change to snow. Then 6 to 10 inches of snow on top of that. Very dangerous situation, with ice-coated roads getting buried under heavy snow. Washington, D.C. Similar setup as Richmond. Ice first, then snow. Total ice of 1/4 inch possible, then 6 to 8 inches of snow. Travel will be treacherous. Philadelphia, you are in the heavy snow zone. Models show 1 foot or more of snow possible. This is not an ice event for you, but a significant snowstorm. Prepare accordingly. New York City, you are also in the snow zone. 6 to 10 inches likely. But here is the catch. Some models show you starting as a brief period of freezing rain before changing to snow. Even 1/10 of an inch of ice under 6 inches of snow causes major problems. Stay alert. Boston, you are on the northern fringe. 4 to 8 inches of snow possible. Not your worst storm ever, but still significant. And the cold that follows will be brutal. For all these cities, here is what you need to remember. The cold after the storm is just as dangerous as the storm itself. High temperatures next week in many locations will not get above 20 degrees. Overnight lows in the single digits or below zero. Wind chills could reach 20 to 30 below zero in some locations. If you lose power in those conditions, you have a life-threatening emergency. Hypothermia can set in within hours in an unheated home when temperatures are that low. This is especially dangerous for elderly people, young children, and anyone with health conditions. Have a backup plan. If you lose power and cannot stay warm, where will you go? Do you have family or friends with a generator or fireplace? Have you identified warming centers in your community? Do you know how to reach them if roads are impassable? Carbon monoxide poisoning is a major killer during power outages. Never use a gas stove or oven to heat your home. Never run a generator inside your home or in an attached garage. Never burn charcoal indoors. These actions can kill you within minutes. Have a battery-operated carbon monoxide detector. Frostbite is another serious concern. If you must go outside during the extreme cold next week, cover all exposed skin. Frostbite can occur in less than 30 minutes when wind chills are below zero. Know the signs. Numbness, white or grayish skin, firm or waxy skin. If you suspect frostbite, get inside immediately and gradually warm the affected area. I also want to talk about pets and livestock. This storm will be dangerous for animals too. Bring pets inside. If you have livestock, make sure they have shelter from the ice and wind. Make sure they have access to unfrozen water. Check on them frequently. Animals can suffer from hypothermia and frostbite just like humans. For those of you with medical needs, this is critical. If you rely on electricity for medical equipment, you must have a backup plan. Contact your power company in advance and let them know you have critical medical needs. They may prioritize your area for restoration. Have backup power if possible. Know where the nearest hospital is and how you will get there if needed. If you take medications that need refrigeration, remember that if power goes out and it is below freezing outside, you can keep medications cold by putting them in a cooler outside. Just make sure they do not freeze. For people with limited mobility or special needs, reach out to family, friends, or local emergency services now, and let them know you may need help if conditions deteriorate. Do not wait until you are in crisis. I know this is a lot of information. I know it might feel overwhelming, but knowledge is power. The more you know about what is coming, the better you can prepare, and the safer you will be. Let me give you one final piece of advice. Document everything. If you lose power and suffer damage from this storm, take photos and videos once it is safe to do so. This will be important for insurance claims. Keep receipts for any expenses related to the storm, including hotel stays if you have to evacuate, food that spoils if you lose power, emergency supplies you purchase. All of this may be reimbursable depending on your insurance coverage and potential disaster declarations. Speaking of disaster declarations, given the scope of this storm, it is very likely that the President will declare federal disaster areas for affected states. This can unlock additional resources and assistance for both individuals and communities. Pay attention to official announcements from FEMA and your state emergency management agency in the coming days. Stay safe, get prepared, check on your neighbors, and drop your location in the comments so I can give you the forecast you need. Share this video with anyone you know in the path of this storm. The more people who are prepared, the better we will all get through this together. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next update.